The name or identity that you give yourself carries beliefs about your qualities and your behavioral expectations. So, if that name says lazy, inconsistent, or incapable, useful actions can feel like a contradiction or even an attack against who you believe you are. One mindset shift can completely change your life for the better. What's known in psychology as the identity shift is a way that your brain creates the internal state for which you work based around your persona. Not necessarily your personality, but who your brain views yourself as. It's one of the ways that a lot of entrepreneurs are able to step into a new role is because they have a new way of viewing themselves through this identity. The identity shift is kind of like putting yourself inside of a box. And if you're already in a box, then it's taking yourself out of one box and putting yourself into a new one. What happens is that your brain stops looking at all of your actions as something to force yourself to do, and rather subconsciously allows you to work, which reduces the willpower, reduces the cognitive load, and allows you to more easily slip into the work that you should be doing, that you know you should be doing, that is different to everything you've done in the past. It's because subconsciously your brain wants to put you into this box and it wants to keep you there. Obviously, we all want to do things with our life that are going to be different to what we've done in the past. That's why education is a thing. Say you want to step into the role of a teacher. When you step into the classroom, most people say that they actually learn everything on the job, and that's because they've stepped into the role, stepped into a new identity. They're not a uni student anymore, but they are the teacher. It's how I've been able to go from struggling uni student, part-time business dude, to then starting my own business, building an app, and now stepping into a new role of content creator, athlete person. This isn't a new concept at all. It's something that's been around for thousands of years that a lot of people have understood subconsciously or understood throughout archetypal stories. So if you were to think about even movies now, you think about when Harry Potter meets Hagrid for the first time, and Hagrid says to him, we all know the line,
"You're a wizard, Harry."
And then from that moment on, Harry's entire identity changes from person living under the stairs to the chosen one at the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Or when Morpheus says to Neo,
"He is the one."
and then from there Neo shifts into the one because his identity changes. Over when Gandalf is talking to Thorin Oakenshield in Lord of the Rings, one of the original fantasy stories, and Gandalf says to Thorin,
"Enough if I say Bilbo Baggins is a burglar and a burglar he is."
And then from that moment, Bilbo the Hobbit becomes part of the team of dwarves, and he steps into this new role. Psychologists call this a self-schema, which is the brain's model of someone like me. This influences what you notice, what feels possible, and how much motivational value an action has. All of these stories are modern representations of something that we've understood as humans for a very long time, where our mind follows the stories that we tell ourselves, and sometimes those stories are told to us by someone who's a mentor or a foresight, or even in a modern world, maybe it's the influencer guru sort of person that wants you to get to do a certain thing, but they know that you can't be the person you need to be without understanding that you need to change your inner self as well. That identity shift is part of the work, because if you try and force yourself to do things all the time, you lose a lot of the energy that is innately built into you. When you stop running on willpower, then things become a lot less effortful by default because you aren't forcing it. It's just part of who you are. That's why when soldiers come back from military deployments and they leave the military, their identity is so intertwined with that organization that they struggle to integrate into normal society a lot of the time because it's a complete identity shift, not necessarily for the better. The danger is not in having an identity, but attaching your self-worth to it. Because when you lose the role, it can feel like losing your value as a person. We can even see this in ancient myth and legend. For example, where the Oracle of Delphi speaks to the warrior Archaeus, and she says to him, "You're going to labor for 12 years in service of Eurystheus. And from this day forward, you'll be known as Heracles or Hercules." And that, from there, we know as a story of Hercules, his 12 labors, he turns into a different person. He goes through the whole hero's journey. The hero's journey is basically the whole arc of the identity shift, where you are one person and you go through all the steps and all the trials until you become this new version of yourself. And it's present in every single story ever, apparently. It's called a monomyth, and it's the backbone of all the different transformation arcs. Rocky, Harry Potter. Odysseus is a massive one, if you've seen Christopher Nolan's new movie, where each of the different trials has a specific step, specific characters, specific aspects that are hit by the main character. And this is something that's inbuilt into our human DNA. It's inescapable. Art is a reflection of real life. So what I'm trying to get at here is that the identity shift, if you understand how to use it correctly, basically turns your entire life into the story that you want to live. And the identity that you give yourself is the most important foundation you can set, because it means you'll use less energy to get to where you want to go. You'll have more energy within yourself because your brain produces the dopamine, produces the chemical motivation to move forward on your task. If you're always working against that identity which you've got for yourself, so if I was to say, I'm not an entrepreneur, I'm a uni student, and that was what I told myself constantly, then doing the business entrepreneurial stuff would take a lot of willpower, and I wouldn't be able to sustain it because it'd be hard, it'd be difficult to do. Now doing this, if you told me 5 years ago I'd be making content, I would think you're an idiot. I would laugh in your face. But now it's not that hard, I'm just doing it. Because the identity behind the self has changed, is what I'm trying to get at. This renaming of yourself is something that I've coined as the strike cycle. The strike cycle stands for select the role, translate it into qualities, recognize that you can practice those qualities through action, initiate one of those valuable actions, keep score of everything that you do, and finally, embody those qualities through repetition. The strike cycle uses identity as a direction for action, but not as a measure of self-worth. A label does not magically create motivation. When an action feels relevant, achievable, and consistent with your self-schema, it can carry more value, while repeated action gives the role credibility. When you learn to do this in your own life, things aren't going to change necessarily, but they will become easier internally because your brain is going to give you more dopamine for doing the same things, which reduces the resistance, it reduces the cognitive load, it reduces the likelihood of burnout. And if you reduce all of these things, you're taking away all the negatives, then it only makes sense that the positives will be easier to bring forth. The reason identity shifting is so important, especially for Guardian Tape, is because when you are covered, your base needs are sorted out, when you've got perfect sleep and incredible recovery through these two products, the sponsor of this video, of course, you have so much more energy unlocked. I feel like when I first started using mouth tape and nose strips, I went from having 60% energy to now 100%. And putting through all the different mindset practices that I learned through building the Maxed app, I've gone from 60% to 100% to now literally 110% in every single day that I work on this business. It feels like it's compounding towards the greatest future I could have ever imagined. And I don't know how else to put this other than you'll have to experience it for yourself. Because nothing that I say is going to convince you to buy these things. They're almost free, less than $1 a day. So how much do you really care about your health and your future, your performance, your recovery, your skin, your energy levels, your hormones, your sex drive, your drive, vitality, vigor for everything? Do you really want everything you could become, or are you happy being who you are? Because I wasn't happy being who I was. Now I'm on the path, and I'm trying to help everyone else just get further forwards. These products, the Ultra Nose Strips and the Guardian Tape Mouth Tape, the two easiest and simplest tools you can get that are going to help you towards self-actualization, the highest goal on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The narrative story, the identity shift, the hero's journey, all culminates in becoming the greatest version of yourself. That's what we're trying to do with Guardian Tape. We want you to supercharge your life. If you are interested in learning more about mindset, health, fitness, martial arts, and everything that I'm trying to figure out myself, watch this journey about everything and see more videos on YouTube coming soon. Thanks, guys. Good night. If you want to watch and learn how to use this strike cycle in real time, click on this next video and I'm going to go through the whole process as I do it for my own new identity. If you've made it through this video all the way to the end, I want to offer you a 10% off voucher for Guardian Tape. If you message me the word Morpheus on our Guardian Tape Instagram page or my own page, Ryan Joseph Fitness X, then I'll send you a link and a code so you can get all of our products at 10% off. Thanks very much, guys. See you in the next one. It looks so pretty in the sun.
It does, doesn't it?